Hey everyone, this is Peggy with Sweet Tea Makery and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to do a little bird egg hack, and just in case you can't find them already pre-painted for you. So I picked these up at a local craft store, and you can use these for bird's nests if you're making a project for that, or Easter eggs, however you choose to use them. To me, they look like a bird, a little bird egg. So what I did was I actually purchased these from Dollar Tree. Now these are the smaller little mini eggs, but you can use, if you're doing a bigger nest or you want a larger egg, you can find these also at Dollar Tree in a little bit larger size. And I've seen individual ones actually at the craft stores other than Dollar Tree. So what I first did was I took my eggs. These are just the plain white little foam egg, and I took some Waverly chalk paint, and you can pick up any type of colors that you want depending on the eggs. I just happened to, for this project, decided to use this paler green. It's called Celery. And I just did about 2 to 3 coats of the white foam egg here, and you can see it here. So it went from this to this, right? And then I took another darker color of chalk paint. This happens to be Truffle. So you can use any darker color. If you want it lighter, you pick a different, lighter shade. They have one that's called Hazelnut, and you can actually blend the two. Sometimes I do that as well, but for this project, I just wanted to do the darker speckles. So I'm going to quickly just show you how mine turned out. Okay, and then I'm going to show you, this is the package that I pre-bought. I haven't opened it yet, so I haven't taken it out. I just wanted you to see, and you can tell that it looks almost exactly like what was made. So a lot of times you can't find those already pre-made in the store, so you can make your own. So I'm going to show you how I did that. Again, I painted the base color with a Celery color in the Waverly chalk paint. I'm going to set the example one aside, and then I'm going to show you how I speckled it. Okay, so I made my own little paint booth. This is my own little hack I've used for many years. So I just take an old shoebox, I line it with a little bit of wax paper, and I use it as a miniature paint booth. So I'm just going to lay my little egg down in there. And this is an old technique that I have used many, many times. And we're going to set this in our little bird's nest. And we're going to take our paint. Of course, you want to shake it up, and get that paint mixed well. And I'm just shaking it up. And then we're going to take an old toothbrush. It doesn't matter how ratty it is. This one's in fairly good shape. But I save all my old toothbrushes to use this speckling technique. And I'm just going to open up. Doesn't matter if our egg's moving around. I'm going to open up this paint. Sometimes you can use the lid of the jar. This one happens to come off. This is the only thing I don't like about these, is that it happens to come off. And you're going to get paint on your fingers unless you want to use gloves. I don't particularly want to use gloves, but we're going to get some paint up on the toothbrush, and I'll show it to you in just a minute. Okay, this is what it looks like. You don't want to use a ton. because you can just layer it. So I'm just going to put my little egg here. And it may roll around on me a little bit, depending on that. So just get your egg and let it there. Okay, it stopped. Okay. So you don't want to hold it too close. So the closer you hold it, the longer the spatters will be. Okay. So you want to hold it at least to the distance to the top of this box. So it's resting here. And we're just going to take our finger, just like this, at the top where that paint is. You're going to get paint on your finger, so don't worry, but it washes out. And we're just going to flick it. And you want to move around, and you'll just add more paint as you need it. You can get a little bit closer. See, it's going to get on your finger. And again, we're just going to grab a little bit more paint. And we're going to flick it. Now you're going to have to turn the egg around. And you have to let it dry some. Okay? Now I'm picking it up because I'm used to it. But you want it to let it dry just a little bit. Now if you want a little bit larger specks on there, like see how those are, you can actually take the bristle and just tap it onto the egg as long as it's wet. See these bristles? You don't want to scrub it, but you just want to tap it where it's wet just to get some larger speckles. And it's okay if you get a little bit more. And we're going to let that one dry. And what we will do is go back around and we'll do the other side. It doesn't take long for this chalk paint to dry. You can actually kind of blow it a little bit like I just did. But once it's thoroughly dry, then you're going to come back onto the other side. And we're going to sprinkle it. And we need to just, sometimes you got to dip it actually into the thing to get it wet. And this is just a matter of practicing, you know, your own. You can do it from the side too. Oops. Until you get the look that you want. And it's going to dry here. And I'm actually going to push this in. So that's Truffle. And we're going to set this aside. And I'm going to take my paper towel and dry my finger off. And if you've got wet ones, which I didn't, oh yes I do, you can just use your wet one. And while that's drying, we're going to just wipe our hands off. And you can do more than one egg. I just happen to be just using one egg at a time. And just use our wet ones to get our hands a little dry and a little bit of the paint off. It's not a non-messy technique, okay? So, I'm going to pick this little egg up, and you're going to kind of see just the little speckling. I haven't finished it yet, but you can see that it's speckled. So, I'm just going to set that back down. We need to do the back side here just a little bit. But rather than doing the whole thing and showing you, you know, the same technique over and over, I just want you to see how this one turns out. And you can do as little as you want, and you can add white if you would like to add a little bit of white to lighten it up. I'm going to set this to the side and let that dry over there. And then you can see the difference. As I showed you before, this is an unopened package of the bird's eggs. Now they've done a little light green, a little darker green, and of course you can buy these paints in all different colors, cream or whatever, you know, whites, or however you choose to do that. But as you can see, it's almost an exact match to the store-bought ones. I thought I'd just share that technique if you're wanting to create your own little eggs for your bird's nests projects. So I will be making another video where I show you how to actually make your own bird nests yourself. And I sell these in my shop. I generally take a thrifted silver piece just like this. I will generally either sell this individually and then a bird's nest individually in my shop, or I will sell it as a set. I price it accordingly. But I just thought that it makes the most realistic looking eggs. And when you can't find the pre-made ones in your craft stores, that you certainly can make your own as well. And if you happen to be out at Dollar Tree, they generally sell these mostly at Easter. Just pick up many as you can. Generally, when you're making a bird's nest, you use at least 3 eggs, so keep that in mind. Whoops, we'll catch that in a minute. But if you're doing a larger bird nest or a wreath that you want to add them to, you can paint these as well. Anyway, I thought you might enjoy that little hack for painting and speckling your own bird's nest. Now, if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, you can do that now and tap that red bell, and it'll notify you when I upload new content and new projects to share with you. And I do appreciate you visiting with me today. Let me know in the comments if you like this idea and like to see more. I hope you have a blessed day. Enjoy.